What if I told you a sitting U.S. senator was allegedly assaulted and arrested just for showing up at a press event? And what if, in the very same week, the government deployed 700 Marines and 4,000 National Guardsmen into a single square mile of Los Angeles without local leaders even asking for help? This isn't some distant dystopia, it's happening right now, in plain sight. The real question is, are these moves about safety and order, or is this a dangerous test of how far authoritarian power can go? Reports broke that Senator Alex Padilla from California was physically removed when he tried to attend Secretary Noem's press event.
Recognizes Senator from California.
Well, got promoted.
I'm sorry.
Thank you, Chairwoman.
Sorry about that.
Thank you, Chairwoman. Thank you to the witnesses for being here. Mr. Secretary, I just got word that Senator Padilla from my great state of California was physically assaulted and arrested for attending Secretary Noem's press event. The mere fact that he showed up, he was forcibly removed. Is this how you would treat a member of Congress who attends your press event, whether invited or not?
Well, I've been here for 5 hours, sir. I don't know about that.
I'm just asking, would you have me forcibly removed from your press event if I walked in?
I'm not going to speculate on a hypothetical. I'm sure there's more context.
I'll take that as a yes. Mr. Secretary, does the DOD have any plans to allow the military to follow the orders of President Trump when his order violates the Constitution? Yes or no?
I reject the premise of that question, which is that President Trump is ordering unconstitutional orders.
I'll take that as a yes as well. Mr. Secretary, the deployment of active duty Marines to California is incredibly disruptive to the lives of service members who are being drawn into the President's publicity stunt. And I want to know how you're planning to take care of these troops. So will you commit to sending my office and this committee a detailed plan on how you plan to house and feed the 700 Marines and potentially thousands of Marines?
What's disruptive is when concrete blocks are thrown at the heads of ICE officers. And so we're proud that National Guardsmen and Marines have responded in real time to help defend those federal law enforcement officers.
So do you have a plan? Do you have a plan to house
Not only do we have a plan, but it's been a focus of mine. I've held a riot shield before in a riot. I recognize what it means to respond in real time without enough time.
Mr. Secretary, will you get me that plan,
everything they can
please?
as fast as they can, and we have a plan for that.
Mr. Secretary, I reclaim my plan. Chairwoman, LA Mayor Bass stated that the area placed under the recent curfew is around 1 square mile. Is that the same area where service members will be deployed?
Service members are in Los Angeles to defend law enforcement, ICE agents, and facilities.
So essentially you're telling me that American people and the American people that a 1 square mile block of LA, and for the record, LA County is over 4,700 square miles, warrants the deployment of 700 Marines and the federalization of 4,000 California National Guardsmen. You testified earlier that you will send in the military to protect local law enforcement. Did LAPD Police Chief McDonnell ask you for your help?
I read reports on a regular basis.
Did he ask for your help?
From ICE agents
I'll take that as a no.
More grateful.
Did LA Sheriff Luna ask for you to send in the military, Mr. Secretary? Did LA Sheriff Luna ask you to send in the military? Yes or no?
I don't work for the LA Sheriff, sir.
Well, you said you sent them in to support the military, but they didn't even ask for your, to support law enforcement, but they didn't even ask for your help. Have you been to Los Angeles in the last 7 days?
My team is, from the top down, focused on making sure Los Angeles
I'll also take that as a no. How did you arrive at the decision not to coordinate with local law enforcement and the governor's office on the initial deployment?
It would be great if the governor attempted to actually coordinate instead of grandstand.
All right, so I believe you're secretly deploying troops to an area without coordinating with local officials is somehow not disruptive and to the logistical and operational conditions on the ground. You agree with that?
I would need you to repeat the question, sir.
Does the department plan on coordinating with Governor Newsom's office on local law enforcement going forward, Mr. Secretary?
We've coordinated with local law enforcement quite well, but the governor's been an obstruction to that, of course.
All right, Secretary Hegseth, this political stunt, and by your own admission, is expected to cost the American taxpayer at least $134 million. and will disrupt the lives of hundreds and potentially thousands of active duty Marines and 4,000 National Guardsmen. That's 134 million and thousands of personnel diverted away from critical missions in the Indo-Pacific, where China is rapidly expanding from Europe, where NATO needs US support amid growing Russian aggression, and from CENTCOM, where tensions are escalating so critically that your own General Kurilla had to cancel all his testimony in Congress today. Your redirection of combat-ready troops from real-world national security threats to manage a domestic protest is gross mismanagement and a slap in the face of service members whose lives are disrupted throughout this event. As a veteran myself, it's a disgrace, and you should be ashamed. I yield back.
The gentleman's
Madam
time
Chair,
has expired.
Madam Chair, can we add into record, please, that the gentleman from California has just stated that it is okay to have 1 mile of complete criminality in LA so long as it doesn't cover the 4700.
That was not my statement.
Madam
And
Chair,
we
have,
and that
Mr.
it's
Mills,
okay
Mr.
if
Mills
it
has
doesn't have-
not
Gentleman
been
is not
recognized.
This is absolutely
Either gentleman,
You're
either
putting words in
gentleman
my
is
mouth,
recognized.
Congressman.
have the right
Mr.
to you have not been
Chair-
recognized
Either
by
gentleman
the
is
chair.
recognized. The chair now
neither have you.
recognizes the
Controls the time.
congressman
And neither have
from
you, Mr.
Louisiana, Mr. Higgins, for 5 minutes.
Well, thank you, Madam Chair. Let's bring it down a notch, shall we?
Think about that. An elected senator showing up to a public appearance, allegedly manhandled and arrested simply for being present. If this can happen to a member of Congress, what chance does an ordinary citizen have? It's not just about one incident. It's about what that action represents, a shift toward punishing dissent rather than protecting democracy. The message is chilling. If even senators aren't safe from being forcibly removed, then no one is. And as shocking as that sounds, this was only the opening act of something much bigger. Not long after, Congressman Derek Tran confronted Homeland Security Secretary Kevin Mullinan and Defense Secretary Pete Hegseth during a heated committee hearing. Tran went straight for the jugular, questioning the unprecedented deployment of U.S. military forces, not just National Guard but active duty Marines, onto the streets of Los Angeles to deal with protests. Yes, protests. Not foreign attacks, not terrorism, but American citizens expressing their First Amendment rights. Tran laid bare the double standard that everyone can see. When peaceful protests break out in certain communities, suddenly it's labeled a national security crisis. But when armed groups storm government buildings or threaten officials, the response is crickets. No tanks, no Marines, no federal muscle, just excuses. The hypocrisy couldn't be more obvious. Then came the bombshell. Tran asked Secretary Hegseth point-blank, "Would you forcibly remove a member of Congress from your—" Hegseth dodged, refused to give a straight answer, and brushed it off as a hypothetical. But to anyone listening, the silence said it all. Tran pressed again, and Hegseth's refusal to deny it spoke volumes. The implication was clear. If you're not on their side, you can be removed. That's not democracy. That's authoritarianism creeping in under the cover of law and order. And the situation only grew darker. Because what this hearing revealed wasn't just about rhetoric, it was about action, specifically the deployment of 700 Marines and 4,000 National Guardsmen to Los Angeles. Think about that number. 700 Marines, combat-ready troops, sent into a single square mile of the city. To put that in perspective, Louisiana County is over 4,700 square miles. Deploying that many troops into such a tiny area isn't about keeping the peace. It looks and feels like a military occupation. It raises the question every American should be asking, is this really about crowd control, or is it about sending a message of dominance? Tran didn't let up. He demanded to know who had requested this overwhelming show of force. Did LAPD Chief Michelle McDonald call for help? No. Did LA Sheriff Robert Luna? No. In fact, none of the local leaders had asked for this deployment. Yet here were thousands of federal troops descending on Los Angeles without any invitation from local law enforcement. And when pressed on why, Secretary Hegseth blamed Governor Newsom, accusing him of obstruction. But that excuse doesn't hold water. The reality is this wasn't about local leaders requesting support. This was about Washington overriding them, imposing federal authority on an American city without consent. If that doesn't alarm you, it should. Because when the federal government bypasses local officials and imposes troops directly, it's no longer about protection. It's about control. It's about testing just how much power they can flex before anyone pushes back. That's not the America people are promised. That's a dangerous path toward authoritarian rule, where dissent is crushed not by debate but by force. And then came the money. Secretary Hegseth admitted the operation would cost taxpayers at least $134 million. That's $134 million drained from the public's pocket to fund what many are calling a political stunt. Meanwhile, thousands of Marines' lives are being disrupted. These service members are being yanked from their families and their duties, thrown into a chaotic domestic mission that was never meant to be theirs. Congressman Tran called it exactly what it is: mismanagement on a national scale. Taxpayer dollars burned, service members uprooted, and national priorities thrown into chaos, all to make a political point. The most alarming part: while all this is happening, America's real security threats are being ignored. In the Indo-Pacific, China is expanding aggressively, building military presence and threatening U.S. influence. In Europe, NATO is relying on American support against Russia's continued aggression. In the Middle East, tensions are boiling over, so much so that a top U.S. general had to cancel congressional testimony because of the situation. These are real threats. These are missions that require America's focus, resources, and troops. And yet, instead of tackling those pressing dangers, combat-ready Marines are standing guard in Los Angeles policing protests. It's reckless, it's short-sighted, and it turns America's defenders into political pawns. What's worse, it sends a dangerous message abroad. Enemies and allies alike are watching. They see the United States diverting its troops from global hotspots to crush dissent at home. They see a military meant to defend democracy now being used to intimidate it. And they take note. That weakens America's standing on the world stage, emboldens adversaries, and undermines trust from allies, all while ordinary Marines are caught in the middle, sacrificed for someone else's political theater. And just when the clash reached its boiling point, Congressman Clay Higgins of Louisiana stepped in, urging everyone to bring it down a notch. On the surface it sounded reasonable. Calls for calm, for civility, for measured discussion. But here's the problem. Too often calm becomes code for watering down accountability. It sounds like balance, but in practice, it silences urgency. When the stakes are this high, when constitutional norms are being shredded, when military occupation is creeping into American streets, what good is calm if it means looking the other way? Sometimes democracy doesn't need a whispers. Sometimes it requires raising your voice, loudly and clearly, to call out abuses before it's too late. So let's be clear. This isn't about keeping order, it's about controlling dissent. It's about rebranding authoritarian tactics as public safety. It's about wasting millions of dollars and thousands of service members' lives to stage political theater, all while ignoring the real threats that actually endanger America's security. It's about testing the limits of what they can get away with and seeing whether people will accept it or push back. That's the reality. And it should terrify anyone who still believes in the principles this country was built on. Because if a senator can be assaulted and arrested for simply showing up at a press event, if Marines can be deployed into neighborhoods that never asked for them, if local leaders can be overruled without consent, then the question isn't whether democracy is under threat. The question is how much longer we'll recognize it when we see it. And that's a question every American has to answer. Will we stay silent and let this become the new normal, or will we call it out for what it is before it's too late? What do you think? Is this about safety and security, or is it something much more dangerous? Drop your thoughts in the comments below. And if you found this breakdown eye-opening, make sure to hit that subscribe button because the next video dives into an even more explosive controversy and you won't want to miss it.